Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the TB&J podcast. With me today is my co-host, Troy Brittingham.
You're Jeff.
I am Jeff. So I had this idea to see a movie after seeing a trailer, and I was like, there's no fucking way the movie is as bad as this trailer's making it seem, right? And you know what? I'll let you find out after this.
TB&J!
We'll be right back. I like the idea of doing like a radio ad break for Hellman's Window Repair. Buy two, get three free. With our 90-day guarantee and free installation. I don't fucking know. Anyway, we saw Night Swim.
So yeah, we're really kicking off 2024 on a good
historically.
Good note. Yeah.
Historically, the bad movies get pushed out in January.
Sure.
So that by the time Oscars come around, you forget all about them. And you kind of bury them in the shitty part of the year. I get it, you know.
No competition, really.
However, sometimes there's diamonds in them there hills. Or gold in them there hills, if I want to use the actual quote from the fucking movie. And you get Beekeeper. You know, Beekeeper was solidly
That's
good.
what I think of when I think of Beekeeper. A diamond in the rough.
Well, comparatively speaking.
I would say Mithrigan might be more of a diamond in the rough comparatively.
It's funny you say that. The director of Megan was also the director of Night Swim.
Was it the director? I know it's James Wan producing.
Is it James? I believe it's also. Oh, fuck off! I'm not doing that ad block. I went to open my thing and it was like, so Night Swim. It's a Blumhouse movie.
They're both Blum. Yeah. Your problem was underestimating that a Blumhouse movie could be bad.
So Blumhouse.
I've heard more Blumhouse recently.
I usually say Blumhouse. No one really has corrected me up until this point.
Directed by Orlando.
Huh?
Orlando Bloom.
Oh God, I hate you. No, Jason
in his house.
Jason Blum, he's the guy who owns
Yes.
Blumhouse Productions. So I assumed it was just Blumhouse. I don't fucking know. Who cares? Apparently this
Probably
is
Jason
based
Blum or
on a
Blum.
book by Bryce McGuire and Rod Blackhurst.
So it's based on a book, which then the director of this movie made.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's based on a short film from 2014.
Is the short not based on a book?
I can't find anything on it. It's so hard.
I know it was based on the short.
It seems like it's
the short is also called Night Swim, by the way, I believe.
Yeah, it is. So it's really hard to find information specifically. But they
Well, it sounds like we should have done it before the podcast.
I mean, you know, who does their homework? You know, it seems. It doesn't seem like it's written on a book. It doesn't seem like it's written on a book.
So you lied to me. You hate me and our friendship.
Yep. Anyway, so this movie was made by Atomic Monster and Blumhouse.
Yes.
All right, both of which I've known for making pretty decent movies. Yeah.
Well, they're known for making 100 movies a year for $1 million in total.
That's okay. That might be what it is.
So there's some good movies in there.
I mean, yeah, The Nun was arguably pretty good.
And there's some real bad ones in there.
Conjuring 2 is on here. That was pretty good. They did the Mortal Kombat movie that we reviewed a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Okay. Malignant, which I think
basically
was pretty good. If
basically
memory serves.
any horror movie that you're like that seems kind of
Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom.
I don't think that this is entirely true. I think this is lying to you a little bit.
Well, it's James Wan directing.
Yeah, well,
and Atomic Monster is his company. So maybe?
I don't think it's James Wan directing. I need to look this up.
James Wan is the director of Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. That is true.
Yes, I agree with that.
Okay, and he's also the founder and owner, whatever person, of Atomic Monster.
The director of Night Swim, though, is Bryce McGuire.
Oh yeah.
Producer is James Wan.
Producer is James Wan. Okay, I misunderstood where we were going wrong.
Okay.
So Bryce McGuire was also the guy who co-directed with his partner at the time, his business partner, not like his life partner, the short film, which came out like 10 years ago in 2014. Which 10 years ago was 2014?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Didn't we graduate 2014?
Yes. Yeah, we graduated a decade ago.
Oh man, dude.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, you're old.
Yeah, man.
I'm not. You are.
Hey, fuck you, man.
It's just.
So Night Swim, thumbs up, thumbs down. How do you feel about it?
So I don't hate everything in this. I think that there's moments where it's fun. I begrudgingly gave Beekeeper a thumbs up. I don't think I'm gonna give this the same benefit. I'm gonna give this one a thumbs down.
I'm gonna give it a thumbs up.
Okay.
Because I went in knowing what to expect, and it kind of delivered on my expectations.
Okay.
Even though I left them completely on the floor.
Well, we're grading on a curve here with Blumhouse horror movies. I get it.
Well, and to be fair, a lot of horror movies in general are just garbage. I mean, objectively, a lot of horror movies are trash because in the grand scheme of movie making, horror has such a low barrier to entry. You can make a horror movie on $100,000 budget, which is nothing.
Which is exactly what the Blumhouse model is.
Yeah, and it's exactly what the model was for decades. Look at the entire Halloween franchise. Look at Friday the 13th. Look at like the original Conjuring and like The Exorcist. All those original movies are on like shoestring budgets, and then they made jillions of dollars, and they kickstarted franchises that ran, in some of those cases, today, starting way back in like 73 for Halloween, I think, right?
There's also statistically a lot more horrors in a normal year than most things, I feel like.
Yeah, it's just it's such a low barrier to entry, which is completely fine.
But I also feel like because there's so many of them, we have also gotten some really, really good ones in the last few years of your Nopes, your Hereditaries, your like Midsummer, stuff like that. So like it is definitely like people who say that like all horror are bad. I also think that's wrong.
Oh yeah, no,
but no, statistically, lots of bad ones. Many bad ones.
Yeah, the entire horror franchise, like you think of horror movies that and you know those ones because they were successful. There's jillions more that you have no idea exist. But some of them have like pretty diehard fan bases. Some of them are cult classics. Or cult classics is the wrong word, but they have like their small dedicated fan bases and they're well done, whatever. Troy, the first thing I want to talk about with this movie, was it distracting at all for you that the baseball player main character was Kurt Russell's kid?
It wasn't, kind of, because I kind of forgot what he looked like before this movie.
Okay. And you don't watch a lot of late night TV, do you?
No.
So I don't watch it like late night, like when it comes on. I usually watch like the YouTube clips the next morning. Wyatt Russell did the entire circuit. He was on like Seth Meyers. He was on Stephen Colbert. He was on Jimmy Fallon. He was on what's the guy from the Man Show way back when we were little kids? God damn it, he's the big one right now.
He's
Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was on like every fucking show with his dad, and he was talking about just like growing. They were just doing like family stories, you know, things people actually wanted to hear. He wasn't directly pimping Night Swim, but I was like, yeah, I know you're in Night Swim. It's coming out. And then it's like, oh, yeah, you're Kurt Russell's kid. You look just like him.
I'm glad that one thing that I'm planning on watching eventually is the Godzilla show that's on Apple TV when I do a free subscription for Apple TV and then binge everything I want to see on a week.
Yeah.
Because I'm not paying for Apple TV. Because I'm a big Godzilla fan, but I don't think that show's going to be... people have said that show's good, even though I think that all the movies it's on are bad. But he's in that, and he plays the same character as Kurt Russell, and one's in the future, one's in the past.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
And I'm glad that I waited until after this because I would have known his face going into this.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I was like, I know him from something, and then the end credits came up and I saw Wyatt Russell, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I do know who that was.
So this movie has a lot of promise. It has a lot of like good bones, I want to say. where like it's
wet bones,
terribly wet, soggy,
super
bloated
soggy bones.
I like the idea of keeping your horror like contained within like a house and a backyard. Because like so many horror movies, I feel like they're trying too hard to go like above and beyond and make it extravagant and have like these larger than life bad guys or premises. I like the idea of just keeping it small, homie. That's why Halloween is one of my favorites, because it's just a serial killer terrorizing a small town, and the small town cops are trying to stop him, and the babysitter is trying to stop him. It's great. I really, really love when they keep it small, which is good to do when you're on a small budget. And
do you like when they keep it wet?
Yeah, I do. And I loved the idea of like former baseball player got hurt. They did a great job setting up the family. I felt like, baseball player had to stop playing because he got MS.
That was my one really big plus, is that I kind of like the family unit.
Yes.
The everybody in there felt like not a completely like cookie cutter version of like a mom, dad, brother, sister.
Mm-hmm.
The sister's mean to the brother, but not like unrealistically brutally mean.
Yeah, they don't like, they're just brothers and sisters.
Yeah,
they're just being themselves.
There's like some cute parent wisdom at some points. I'm like, okay, the family itself, I don't hate them.
No, not at all. They're pretty good. I think like the young son is actually pretty good, despite being fucking 13 when they filmed this movie, or 14. Like he's pretty good. He's got some talent. I'd cast him in something else maybe. He's not terrible. Carrie Condon, I love seeing her in anything. She was the mom. She was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
The girl who played the daughter, I can't remember her name off the top of my head. It was Emily Hofferl. She doesn't even have a link on Wikipedia. That's how little she is. But like she was pretty good. And the small cast, I really liked that. They focused on the family. It was very, very small. They had the neighbors in there for a minute, but like who gives a fuck? I just as much as I want to give this film credit, they have a lot of promise, and then they fail to deliver, and then they set up rules for their universe that mean nothing.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
So they establish, and if you're not stupid, you can figure it out pretty quick, but that like the pool gives and takes, right? It gave Waller, whatever his first name was, Lou or Pat, whatever the fuck.
I think it's Ray.
Ray Waller, thank you. They gave him his strength back, and he's like, oh, shit, I can maybe play baseball again. He starts getting buff, he starts training, he starts doing his thing. Awesome. But we have to take something, and that's where it comes in. They're trying so desperately to kill this little boy. But, like, the pool killed the cat and didn't give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Why did you...
The pool,
what did you gain?
The pool really fucks around for a while. Like, the pool seems pretty infinitely powerful to just kind of kill anybody whenever it wants, and then chooses not to 90% of the time.
Yeah. And it just seems so weird. It was like playing around with like the girl and her boyfriend in the pool in that one scene, and it just felt it felt like they were trying to make it like suspenseful and put you on the edge of your seat, like, oh, what's going on with the pool? They do a lot of not showing you anything sinister, but like, oh, the water's flickering and the light is flickering.
There's like a weird fat zombie man down there who. So what was your viewing experience for this movie?
So
you saw it at home, I believe, right?
My viewing experience was on my couch at home, because I saw it, and I was gonna buy a ticket to go see it at the local theater, but when I turned on the Xbox the other day to play some Halo, there was an ad like movie rentals, and I saw Night Swim in the ad, and I was like, no, that movie's still in theaters. And it turns out, yeah, for $20 I could rent it in HD, or for $30 I could buy it.
So
I did not buy it.
You didn't buy it?
No,
what if you want to watch Night Swim again?
Oh man, then I'll just beat myself in the head until I stop.
But I saw this in theaters. And I saw it with our friends Caitlin and my friend Nicole.
Friends of the podcast. Love those two.
It was an empty theater except for us. So we were just loud the whole time and talking about the movie.
That sounds awesome.
It was kind of the perfect experience to see Night Swim. Every
That was almost my experience watching Cats. I think there was like 2 other people in that theater.
Well, every single time this one zombie like bigger guy shows up at the bottom of the pool.
He's unnamed, but he's like a former like dad who lived there. Yeah.
Yeah. We really fucking laughed every time he showed up. He was the big problem with this movie. There is not one scare in this movie.
I mean, they try,
sure,
but like they telegraph it so well that you know it's coming.
Every jump
and I just
scare,
ended up bored.
Every jump scare is very slow. It's not necessarily like a jump scare as much as somebody kind of just like walks up, like takes one step towards you and goes, ah, and you're like, oh, okay.
Oh, hello.
I don't know why you did that. And also, other than the cat and like a girl at the beginning in like the prologue, we
don't see anyone else die.
There's no kills.
No,
like,
there isn't.
If you're gonna make me watch like a bad horror movie, I'm expecting like slasher kills.
Yeah,
that's sort of like the consolation prize.
I think that's the only reason Friday the 13th didn't flop immediately was because of all the slasher kills.
Yeah.
We love seeing horny teenagers get murdered.
Friday the 13th.
And they had that opportunity. They could have just killed the boyfriend.
Yeah.
And when they were in the pool playing Marco Polo, and she reaches out to Danny DeVito, who like I don't know what you thought when you saw the bloated older guy in the pool.
I've been saying he reminds me a lot of Violator from the Spawn movie.
Okay.
He's very similarly shaped.
He looked like if Danny DeVito's Penguin from Batman 2 ended up in the pool and was in this universe. In my opinion. When I saw him, I was like, oh, so there's other people in the pool. Why did they pick Danny DeVito? And then turns out not Danny DeVito.
It would be great if it was Danny DeVito. This movie would be so much better if it was Danny DeVito.
Would it be?
I think it would be.
So, speaking of that, so like watching this movie, I was like, all right, the bad guy is a pool.
Yeah.
Are you doing this film with a wink and a nod? Like, are you meta-ing this? Are you gonna like, be in on the joke? And my wife came upstairs from doing laundry, and she comes in the door, and she was like, "Oh, what are you watching?" And I was like, "Night Swim. The bad guy is a pool. It's a horror movie." And she was like, "It is? It's not like a comedy? Are they in on this?" And I was like, "No. This film takes itself very seriously all the time. There is no humor. There is no wink and a nod." And she was like, "Oh, that sounds bad." And I was like, "Yeah, it's it's not great."
I'm a big advocate.
Thumbs up, but it's not great.
I'm a big advocate for anything can be good. I think there's a lot, most ideas of.
That's why we saw this movie. I saw the trailer. I think I saw it with you for the first time, and I was like, "There's no way that movie can be this bad, right? There's no way that trailer for that That's a terrible trailer. There's no way the movie's that bad."
You underestimate Blumhouse.
Maybe.
Blumhouse really is like somebody kind of walks up to James Wan and just goes, "I have a horror movie idea," and as they're pulling out the script to read it, he's like, "It's greenlit. You can put that away."
Yeah,
he goes, "How much?" He goes, "How much money do you?" Can you make it on this amount of money? And he just kind of pulls out whatever's in his pocket at the time, and he's like, "I guess."
It's just so, man, this movie just. And then the one time I thought they were making a joke, they didn't bring it up at all. The school is called Harold Holt. Do you know who Harold Holt was?
I know the name, but I don't know.
He was an Australian prime minister that drowned at sea.
Oh, he's that guy. Okay.
Yeah. He was that guy, and they named the school after him. I was like, this has to be a joke, but nobody mentions it at all.
That's pretty funny, though. That's...
Like, I feel like some small writer or like the set designer who made that graphic for the school computer, because it's only there for like a fraction of a second before she like opens a window. Which, by the way, that whole research scene where she's looking up the previous owners of this house and she's doing it at school. You couldn't do this at home on your own computer.
Well,
whatever.
The pool may now. It may get into the internet, the pool internet.
Jesus Christ. So you're trying to make this bad guy have rules of you give and you take, and I only kill to take and I give things away. So it's not necessarily like a bad thing. it's just like one of those weird ambivalent things. But no, I'm going to kill this cat for no fucking reason. I feel like they did that just to make me feel something as a man that owns a cat. They were trying to make me like upset. And I was like, no, that doesn't. Earlier, when the mom was swimming, Carrie Condon's character, she was swimming by herself at night, and the cat was by, and it was hissing at the pool, and it wouldn't go near it. It clearly sensed something was wrong, and yet 10 minutes later, it's on the diving board, just checking out the pool, ready to be killed super easily. That makes no fucking sense. You just set up the rules for this cat 10 minutes ago, and you're already throwing them out the window.
They also never really deliver on the Chekhov's diving board situation. Where there's
Not
like
really, no.
Yeah, there's like a maintenance guy who has a very weird line
about we evolved out of the water,
yeah.
but maybe that's why we want to keep going back.
He's like we know somehow deep down we should never go back. But maybe that's why we take. I'm like, what are you talking about?
What is this philosophy lesson I'm
getting?
And
then I was like, okay, well, that guy clearly comes back and he dies via diving board somehow.
Because he had his foot in the diving board and then he like slips and they have the music like hit. So you're supposed to think like, oh, that was something sinister. But like, no, he looks like he just slipped.
Yeah, and then that guy never shows up again. I was expecting him to come back and then be killed by
He says, I'll be back tomorrow to check out the pool.
Yeah. I was like, okay, well, that's the setup. And they don't do that.
I don't understand it. Also, I don't know much about pools.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think spring-fed private pools are a thing.
No.
Spring-fed residential pools.
No, I don't think so.
I think they made that up.
It seemed like they were randomly just like, all right, we're gonna do the ancient Indian burial ground thing.
As a guy that used to own a pool, well, my parents had a pool, so I know some pool maintenance. I've worked on it. You don't ever, because the dad, when they were cleaning the pool, when they got it, they drained it, and he has the drain at the bottom like open, and he's just reaching down, pulling out gunk. You don't do that with your hands. There are tools for that, because when you do that with your hands, you get massive cuts like he does. And I don't know if you know this, Troy. If you get a cut vertically down your arm, it's very likely you could bleed out before proper help arrives. You know, just a thought.
Right, but you see, that's his improper pool handling is scary.
Even though he says when they buy the house, oh, I grew up, we always wanted a pool growing up, and we used to go to the one in the city and pretend we were the rich suburban kids. And the mom who says, oh, my dad was a Navy man. I was doing dive drills before I could even walk, blah, 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 blah. It's like, okay, cool, so y'all know about pools. Why are you doing that? Why are you throwing pool cleaning safety out the fucking window?
I'm also,
that's a deep fucking pool. That's like 10, 12 feet at that deep end. Who the fuck builds a pool that deep in a residence?
Well, it's supposed to be like spooky, scary deep.
Oh, is it?
Oh, sometimes it's like 100 feet deep.
Yeah, that made no fucking sense to me at all. I don't.
Well, that's inherently sort of the problem with like ghost movie stuff. Is sometimes it just turns out to be, you're like, it's magic. That's why. Fucking ridiculous.
I don't understand.
I think we are missing one vital part of the thing of the director then realized that the pool can't really, if they just stop going in the pool, then the movie kind of stops.
Right.
So they have to make the dad get pool zest. Where the pool water goes in his mouth, and then he
has to make sure that the son dies to fulfill the pool prophecy.
The
pool-ophacy.
The pool-ophacy.
The pool-ophacy. Yeah. So fucking stupid.
And then while he's pool zest, he tries to pull the kid into the deep end.
I don't. That bit made no fucking sense to me at all. I don't. You give and you take, right? So like you gave to the dad. Did you not already pick the son? Are you just gonna let the dad kill whoever he wants? Is that how you kill people, Pool? You possess people and they murder people for you? They had a glimmer of a good horror movie in there when like the old lady was talking about how like she knew her daughter died. because she had to sacrifice her to the pool to make her son this healthy again, and now he's some big, well-to-do ambassador in Washington, D.C. I'm sure he's a wonderful human being who doesn't take bribes or anything. Fuck all politicians. But, like, then she's, like, crying black. It's like she's possessed by the pool, maybe?
Pool zest.
Pool zest, excuse me.
Please.
You say pool zest, I keep thinking of like orange zest when you like shave the skin of an orange for a little bit of zest in like a drink or a salad dressing.
You put that in the pool.
You take the pool and you shave a little bit.
Yeah. You shave it off the sides of the pool.
Also,
then you have a bigger pool.
There are so many bits of this movie that just break its own rules. When the kid gets a glass of water and he's looking at it and it's moving and he puts it down and then there's clearly like bits of the black possessy stuff in the pool. And it's like, oh, okay, so I guess it's infected like the sewer line and the water supply.
Well, once again, they remembered that they can't have the pool leave the pool, so they were like, "We have to.
It needs
find
to
a
be
way.
all water.
We need to find a way for the pool to leave the pool."
Jesus Christ! And it was so. There's when the old lady's water fountain starts overflowing because clearly the pool is mad and it's trying to attack and lash out and like starts getting closer to her bag, so she picks it up and then she's in the car and there's just a straight black puddle in her purse. And there's water all over her phone, so she can't use it. First of all, people, it's 2024. That doesn't happen anymore. Cell phones are not as fragile to water as you think they are.
Yeah, you just turn it off for like an hour, and it'll probably be fine.
Not even an hour. It'll turn right back on, and it'll be fine. And it'll tell you, hey, we think some water may have gotten in. You need to clean your charging port.
Have you considered though that the phone might be possessed?
Oh, no, I didn't. Can the pool take over more than just organic life forms?
Ooh. What if we're all pool?
Troy, did you like much about this movie? I've been talking a lot.
My positives were really the family unit, and I like the one shot when he falls in the pool in the beginning and
when he was reaching for that baseball.
I think that's a cool shot.
It is, and they do a lot of cool shots and a lot of good setting up where like the perspective is like at water level, so it's like half above, half below, or it's like from underneath looking up. It's good cinematography. I just wish it was a better movie.
Its problem is it's not scary. It doesn't do any scares.
Nope.
It doesn't do any kills. And
except for Rebecca early on, and then the cat.
And the setup for every single horror scene is the exact same. Of the person swimming in the pool, and then they see somebody out of the water, and then they're like, "Hey, is that you?" And then there's nobody outside of the water, and then they hear a thing.
Or you're playing Marco Polo with your boyfriend who snuck in, and he gets out of the pool, and suddenly there's a bloated Danny DeVito in the pool that is trying to draw you towards him.
And I don't know, he vanishes into the backyard, the vast backyard, I guess. I don't know where he went.
The boyfriend?
Yeah.
She tells him he's got to take off through the backyard
No.
gate.
I mean, before that, when he gets out of the pool.
Oh, yeah. And then when he does get back in, there's also, like, the vacuum hoses there. So I don't know if he was trying to, like, freak her out or scare her or do something. But it didn't work out well. And then when he does get out of the pool, he kisses her and leaves. And it's like, that felt weird and forced. And she's clearly uncomfortable. And I can't tell if it's from the kiss or if it's from the pool. But in this instance, it all looks kind of weird and creepy. Also, did you notice that the swim team flyer he gave her was for the Christian swim team?
Yes.
It's a swim for him.
Oh,
yeah. Like about Jesus.
Oh, yeah. No, I have seen that, yes.
And then the girls are talking in the pool about it, and you're like, oh, I think it's cool that he's Christian. It's kind of like forbidden. And I'm like, what? What are you talking about? Why is this a plot point? It doesn't matter. Shut up. Did you like anything else, Troy?
Man, I gotta be real. I'm kind of out. Wow. I thought this is a pretty boring.
I'll admit, as soon as I started the movie, because I rented it on Xbox, so as soon as I hit play, I saw the runtime. It was like an hour 38.
That's another thing I like.
And I was like, "There's definitely like 8 to 10 minutes of credits in this movie, so there's not gonna be a lot of actual movie."
That is, in fact, one thing I like about it.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, I guess that's whatever. And then, here's another problem I had. I keep remembering things as I'm going through the movie in my head. she has to stop her dad from killing mom,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So she grabs his baseball bat,
Yeah.
Chekhov's bat, if you will, and just beats the daylights out of her dad without a single concern.
Right, Mel Gibson's wife tells Joaquin Phoenix to swing away, and then he goes.
Carrie Condon is married to
the movie Signs I'm referencing.
Oh,
yeah, which also ends in a baseball bat scene with a lot of water.
Interesting. I wonder if it's a reference.
I don't think it is.
I don't think so either. I don't.
But no, they defeat the possession with the power of baseball.
Yeah,
with the power of baseball and family.
He hears in his ears like, Dad, you have to fight it. You're being possessed. You're being possessed. And he thinks about hitting a home run with the fucking Milwaukee Brewers. Troy, I don't know if you know this. I'm a very big baseball fan. There is an Atlanta Braves World Series champions pennant above our heads right now.
I can see it.
Their World Series championship-winning newspaper from Atlanta, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, hangs next to my bathroom. I was named after shortstop Jeff Blauser. I go to every Braves game I physically can, as often as I can, when they are in town, because I live in Philadelphia. The Brewers suck, all right? They always have. Your guy's a former Brewer? And he's dreaming about a home run?
I am very confused on how famous or rich he is at any point in time in this
movie. Yeah, right? They're like, oh, he used to be a great star. And then it's like, then why does she have to go back to college and get a degree in special education so that they can stay afloat?
This is a nice house.
That they just bought.
I feel like they could have bought a nicer house if he was a former baseball player.
Yeah. And I get it. He has MS. He got cut down in the prime of his career. But, like, Ronald Acuna Jr. is younger than I am, and he's a multi-millionaire on the Atlanta Braves. If you're good at your job, you don't need to worry about money unless you have, like, a crippling gambling addiction that nobody else knows about. Like, I don't understand why there was a brief moment in the first, opening act of this movie where money was kind of an issue, and I was like, but why? Especially if he was playing Major League for the Brewers.
Yeah.
He got paid at least a little bit.
I was describing this problem to somebody, and they're like, well, it could have been like a AAA situation. I was like, no, they show him playing for MLB.
They show him playing, and the Brewers logo is on the scoreboard, and it says Brewers on his jersey, which, by the way, I don't know if they licensed that from the MLB for this movie. I don't know that you need to license it. I don't know if it has the same rules as the NFL. Because I know for NFL... Actually, you know what? Here's a fun fact that is tangentially related. Collectible sports cards, right? Mm-hmm. There are a couple companies that are allowed to make the sports cards, and they're allowed to use the logos and the naming. Some of them are not, and they still make their collectible cards with the players. They just have to airbrush out all the logos and stuff. So you just have, like... what's a player? You'll have like Ronald Acuna Jr. for the Braves, but it won't say Atlanta across his chest. It'll just be a gray shirt, and there won't be an A on his helmet. It'll just be blue. Yeah.
Usually the logo's on the card somewhere too.
That won't be there either.
That's so interesting.
But it'll have like all his stats on the back, and it'll say he plays in Atlanta.
Are they ever like worth anything?
Yeah.
Okay.
Different brands have different like rarities of their cards, and they have different things. But like it just depends on who signs the contracts with the MLB and the NFL. I think Panini is like the big one, and they have the contract right now. They're allowed to have the logos and all that shit. Topps is as well. You definitely know Topps.
Yes.
You've heard Topps.
Yeah. I used to be a card collector person.
Yeah. I tried to be, but I learned very quickly it's a rich person's game, and I just don't want to sink my entire life savings into collectible cards. I feel like my wife would kill me.
This was definitely more of a I was a kid thing. There's somewhere in my house there's a whole bunch of them, but there's nothing.
Yeah, I certainly had a couple packs of like. I remember when I was a kid trying to get baseball cards, and my brother was like, "Why are you doing that?" And I was like, "Because they're collectible." And he was like, "No, they're not. You can buy the whole year's set in a box right now for like $50 or whatever." And I was like, "Oh, then why do I buy the packs?" And he was like, "Because you're a sucker." And I was like, "Aw, thanks, Larry." And then, 2020 happened, and now collectible cards are fucking huge and wildly expensive again.
Yeah, you should have bought more Pokemon cards, idiot.
I should have. Somewhere in my mom's house, there is a Charizard in a binder somewhere that's worth money and would put my future kid through college. But, who knows where that is. One other complaint about this movie that I had, Troy. The very end of the movie, you remember it?
Yes.
The three of them, because Dad had to sacrifice himself to the pool so that his son could live. And he just walks into the pool and just keeps swimming down endlessly. Apparently, that's how you sacrifice yourself to the pool. And then the kids and the mom are standing there, and they're just like, we could move, we don't have to stay here. But the little boy's like, but then this would happen to someone else, wouldn't it? And the girl's like, Dad wouldn't want that. And Mom's like, you're right, we'll stay. Okay, cool. Immediately cut to a bulldozer filling in the pool with dirt.
Mm-hmm.
Then why are you staying? Just move. It's full of dirt. What? Huh?
And
what?
And also now it raises the question. You could have probably done that at any time if that was a solution.
Yeah, I think my pool's trying to kill me. Let me either A, invite every neighbor and their kid over and have a pool party, or B, fill it in immediately. What would you do? It's like that meme of the guy sweating with the two red buttons and he doesn't know which one to hit, but it's very obvious which one you should hit. Like, dude, just fucking destroy the pool. Like, it's that easy. Or fucking move. Like, what are you doing? I don't understand why this is an issue.
I also want to point out my favorite scare of the entire movie.
If you can call it that.
Yeah. Is when the dad is pool-zest and chasing the daughter around the house. And he goes, Marco, like a pool, like you would do in the pool.
Like she was doing earlier with her boyfriend.
Mm-hmm. And then he pops up from over like a chair or something like that, and he goes,
you're supposed to say polo.
Yeah. Maybe one of the worst lines in a horror movie I've seen in a long time.
Terrible.
And then we cut to a different thing, and then we cut back to them, and she's still behind it, and he walks over and closes the door and locks it and doesn't do anything to her. And I was like, what was the point of the...
Yeah, why were you looking for her then if you're not going to do anything?
Why didn't you just do that to begin with?
I don't understand why you can't kill her then and make this a little more interesting. And then when the glass of water, which is possessed by the pool demon, pool-zest by the pool demon, it falls off the counter and shatters. And then she runs back in the house and she falls and impales the glass straight into her hand. That was the only time I genuinely felt concerned for anybody in this movie. Was that. Because I was like, oh, if you got that in your wrist and you can't call 911, that's a problem. That's a pretty big problem. No, she's fine. It's just in her hand, and she just pulls it out like nothing happened and just wraps it up with a little rag. But for some reason, it's bleeding so much that she can't use the touchscreen on her phone. There's too much blood. I don't know much about how phones touchscreens are made, Troy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure you could still dial 911, even if your phone screen is wet and slippery with blood. I feel like you could still do that.
No.
Also, I feel like if your right hand is covered in blood,
yep,
and you need to dial 911,
yep,
use your left hand.
No.
Just use the other hand.
Hard disagree.
I feel like it's a pretty easy solution.
Hard disagree. You clearly don't know anything about phones or
Also,
pools.
if my dad is walking around pool-zest, I'm not going to advertise that I'm calling 911. I probably wouldn't do that. I would probably just do it without telling him.
Would you tell the cops that your dad is pool-zest?
I'd have to. And I'd have to tell them, don't tase him. You might kill him because he's pool-zest. He's full of water.
Mm-hmm.
He might
explode into
he might explode
into a water balloon of water.
The more I talk about this movie, the lower my opinion is.
Mm-hmm.
And I still maintain this movie had a promising setup and a promising structure. It just never delivered on any of it. So I was just bored the whole time. Another metric I measure movies on personally is how often I'm picking up my phone.
Is how many times they use the word steroid Shrek, which they did use it once.
They did use steroid Shrek once, yes. But one measurement I'd use is like, oh, well, how often was I looking at my phone, or if this is a thing I'm watching on Netflix or whatever, how often am I like pausing it to get up and go do something else, or just, how often does my mind wander? The answer for Night Swim, a lot.
Yeah.
I stopped counting after 4.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was like, all right, that's It's a lot. It took me like 2 hours and change to get through this hour-and-a-half movie because I just kept like stopping it to get up and do something else or go make dinner.
Yeah, I really lucked out by being able to sort of Mystery Science Theater this thing with 2 friends.
You really did. I kind of regret now renting it at home.
And I'll let you know right now, if there's ever like a bad Blumhouse horror movie, Caitlin and Nicole, the absolute perfect company. It's like their brand is that type
don't
of
I know it?
Yeah.
That being said, it's still not the worst movie I've ever seen. It's not great. It's not even
good. It's not
good.
The Beekeeper.
It's certainly not The Beekeeper. That's the gold standard so far of 2024. But
oh my god, yeah, you're technically right.
Yeah,
technically, Beekeeper is the best movie we've seen in 2024.
We are gonna
at least recorded.
Yes, and I think coming up soon, we're next week actually is Argyle.
Okay.
And then we have Halo coming up soon after that.
Hello.
We have what's that movie? The terrible one with Sydney Sweeney. We can skip that one actually. That's like a stupid rom-com.
Sydney Sweeney.
Yeah, I don't know if you know who she is.
Are you talking Lisa Frankenstein? Is that the one you're talking about?
No, that's not the one I'm talking about. It's her and some guy. They have to pretend to be together. It's a weird fucking movie. But the only reason I think anyone's gonna go see it is because Sydney Sweeney is in it, and she got really, really famous for getting naked on Euphoria.
You're talking about Madam Web, aren't you? Or no, you're talking about a different thing. I didn't know she was also in that.
She's also in Madam Web. She's in a lot of movies that are coming out in the first half of this year. She did a lot of work apparently last year, which I have a secret conspiracy theory.
Okay.
That part of the reason we're getting so many weird out of left field movies early on this year, obviously bad movies come out early, sure. But I think part of that is the only actors working last year were the ones not in SAG. So I feel like we're going to get some weird ones because it's all non-unionized actors now.
Are you thinking of Eden?
No.
Those are the 2 Sydney Sweeney 2024 ones, but it doesn't matter.
It does not matter at all.
But we do have stuff coming out. It is a good year. I did toss out
Anyone But You.
Anyone But You. I thought that was 2023. I think that might be out already.
You know what? It might.
Which means that we definitely don't have to do it.
It was 2023. I saw a trailer for it before The Beekeeper.
Well, that means we definitely don't have to do it though.
Man, who knows? It got a 6 out of 10 on IMDb. So, who knows? But anyway, yeah, we can definitely skip that one then. Do we have to watch Madam Web?
Not really. We didn't do Morbius.
Madam Web definitely feels like it's gonna be bad.
It seems like it's really definitely gonna be bad.
Dakota Johnson, who's in it, and I think she's an underrated actress because she got a bad rap because her first big project was 50 Shades of Grey. She gets
a lot of shit for that. Yeah,
she does. Yes. She recently did a roast actually with the one of the new comedy troupes at SNL that's called Please Don't Destroy. They're like the new Lonely Island group at SNL. You know what I mean? I don't know how much you followed SNL. You know who Lonely Island is. But she did like a roast with them going back and forth, and it was like fucking hilarious. And apparently it was just them who wrote it all. So I think she's truly underrated as an actress. I think she gets a terrible rap just because her first big project was 50 Shades of Grey. And everyone was immediately like, oh, you're Don Johnson's daughter. Who cares? Miami Vice, right? And it's like, no, shut up. She's actually got, like, acting chops. I think she's better than some of the projects she's done. Regardless, she came out and did an interview about Madam Web. And she said that she didn't know if it was a good idea to do so much of it in front of a blue screen. And she said, quote, I don't even know if this is going to be good. End quote. And I'm concerned. If your actors can't even pretend that your movie is going to be good, I don't have any faith that the audience is going to think it's good either. Eh?
No, it's probably going to be real bad.
You saw the masks for those ladies?
Yeah.
All the masks that don't hide your face at all?
All of it looks very well, I mean, yeah, but that's a superhero thing in general. I'm fine with that. Doesn't bother me necessarily,
but bothers me a lot. That the masks look stupid.
I mean, no, they look stupid. All of it looks stupid. I'm just saying. I just the specifically hiding the face, I don't care about. But yeah, no, It's gonna be real bad. But we have. I still maintain that I think Argyle will be good. I have tickets for it this Thursday. You're against me. Lisa Frankenstein is a thing. No,
I'm sorry. I just got a New York Times article sent to my phone that said, if you feel like the Earth is doomed, there might be some good news. People felt that way in the 1920s, too. Click here to read more.
Oh,
and
boy.
I'm like, the 20s, right before the Great Depression and World War II?
Oh, boy.
Yeah, what kind of hope are you trying to sell me right now, NYT?
No, that's true. Yeah, and then nothing really was bad after that either. Like we were pretty good
sailing.
We were pretty smooth sailing all the way up into. I mean, people will say that the 50s were great, and the 50s,
Yeah, great for voting rights.
Yeah,
and equality.
Yes,
across the board.
Yes. And everything leading up from the 20s to the 50s, all good.
The 30s.
Yeah.
The 40s.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you have the 50s and the 60s. Jesus fucking Christ. I can't believe that's an actual article the New York Times just pushed. Have hope because the 20s felt doomed too. Fuck you. Are you stupid? Jesus Christ.
Jeff, we're rambling a lot this episode.
We are. We're rambling because this movie was fucking boring.
Do we have a letter grade?
I do. D. No, that's harsh. That's harsh.
Okay.
I'm going to issue the very first retractable.
Retractable?
Yeah, sure. Why not? C minus.
Okay. I did say that I liked it less than you. I'll go D plus.
I think that's very fair.
Yeah.
I think if this movie was allowed to cook a little bit longer in the writer's room, which might be one of the things, this might have been one of those movies where it's like, oh, writer's strike, we're going to make a movie. Let's use this pre-established thing so we don't have to actually get a writer to do anything, and we'll just hire the guy who made it to direct this one and write this screenplay since he's not a writer. Technically. He's not in the guild.
I personally think this is just a Blumhouse movie.
I mean, I could be reading way too much into this.
They do this. This is a thing that they do.
I'm all aboard the conspiracy theory train that we're gonna get so many shit movies this year because the writers and actors strikes last year,
and that Taylor Swift is a government psyop or whatever.
Why'd you have to bring her up?
Because you were mentioning conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
Do you subscribe to the Fox News? She's a government psyop that wants to make.
Wait, that's a real one?
Fox News has been saying that Taylor Swift is a government psyop to get people to vote for Joe Biden, and there are some people who are saying that because.
But she hasn't publicly supported him.
No, but she told people to vote. Taylor Swift literally said people should vote, and all conservatives lost their mind.
I don't.
There's people who are also saying because Travis Kelce said get vaccinated.
Yeah.
They also hate him now.
He also got paid to say that. So whether that's his real opinion or not is maybe up for debate.
I heard a thing today that was this is a situation where a white country singer is dating an American football player from a successful team in the Midwest with an offensive name, and all conservatives hate it.
Yeah, I don't. It's like if you took a Mad Libs of things conservatives should love, and you mashed them together, and they were like, "Oh no, we hate that." I don't understand.
But there are people who are there's a legitimate conspiracy theory that the Chiefs have a rigged Super Bowl win this year.
Yeah, and I'm in that camp. Fuck them.
Yeah, sure. You're there for different reasons,
Fuck
though.
the Chiefs.
You're there for different reasons.
Fuck Kermit Mahomes and his fake-ass fucking rings.
You could fit easily into this conspiracy theory because they think that after the Super Bowl, they're going to endorse Biden, and then all the Swifties are going to vote for Biden.
Sure, that might happen. Who cares? Who gives a shit? I'm going to be watching the Puppy Bowl because fuck the Chiefs and fuck the 49ers. I'm sorry if you're from Kansas and you're listening. I'm sorry. If you're from Kansas City, which is in Missouri, actually. So if you're from that area and you root for the Chiefs, fine. I'm glad you guys are finally not the laughingstock of the NFL.
I mean, they haven't been for a while. They've been on quite a bit of Super Bowls recently.
I know.
Yeah.
It's fucking annoying.
So,
how do you think it feels knowing that your team is in the same conference? So if you ever want to get near the Super Bowl, you have to go through Kermit Mahomes and his best bud, Pfizer Kelsey.
See, now you're doing it.
Heat
up a little bit. Get a little more conservative.
I did it on purpose.
A little bit more conservative with it. Come on. See how it feels. Try it out.
Vaccinations are bad. I can't. No. Get
you lost
vaxxed.
it. You're out of the club.
Fuck the Chiefs. Go Ravens. That's all I have to say.
Hey man, maybe next year.
Fuck you. I'm just kidding. You're one of my best friends in the world.
I know that this is coming from a place of anger. I'll let that one slide. No, we're not doing this. We're not doing this. Yeah, we should end this podcast.
Thank you for listening to the TB&J podcast. I won't talk about football. And guess what? If you hated those parts of the podcast where I did talk about football, you're in luck because my team lost. So they're not going anywhere else except fucking Cancun, I guess, because now you've got all spring off because you're not doing anything.
I thought we weren't going to do this. I thought we were stopping. Seems like you're going. You okay? You all right?
Like and subscribe. They have the #1 defense in the NFL, Troy. They held the Chiefs to 0 points in the second half, and they couldn't fucking do it. How? Well, you have the #1 rushing offense in the league, and you only rush the ball 6 times? What the fuck are you doing? Who's calling these plays? I could do better.
You're armchair quarterbacking a little bit now. You're getting into
Shut up, Troy. I wouldn't be a quarterback. I'm too short. I would definitely be a halfback.